So, ladies and gentlemen, today I'm back with another video, and today we're going to be doing a tier list. I haven't done a tier list in like years, and today I'm going to be doing it on a topic of Eminem albums. I'm an Eminem fan, so I thought, why not rate all his 13 albums in one tier list? I was going to do one where I did like rating all his songs, but he's put out like hundreds of songs, and I haven't listened to every single song he's released. But so instead, I'm going to just cut it down to the albums. Now, this is actual. We are only saying albums. This isn't like collab albums, or we ain't including like the best of like albums like he did for Curtain Call. I'm not including those albums. Even though, yes, there were some added songs, like for example, in the original Curtain Call, they had When I'm Gone, which was a great song. But sadly, I'm not going to be ranking the best of songs because these are just the best from basically songs he's put out from other albums. So I don't think it would be fair to rate it. So we got 13, and we're going to go in chronological order, and we're going to put in one of these 5 tiers. We got peak M, we got great, we got mid, only one time listen, meaning it's something that I think I could only listen to once and probably never again, or this is shit. I'm gonna be completely honest. I know Eminem's got a huge fan base, so I guarantee I will piss off one person by making this video. But screw it, I'm an Eminem fan too, so I'm gonna be completely honest, because a lot of people have different opinions when it comes to different albums. Some say it's shit, some say they're good. In my opinion, I think Eminem is the best rapper of all time, so I'm gonna stick by that. But we're gonna see what I really think. But before we get into this, leave a like, subscribe. We're on our way to 500. And without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, starting off with the first one, we got Infinite, known as Eminem's first album. And let's be real, no one says Infinite is good. This was his first album, and I'm not judging based on his first album. It's not a great start to the video by putting his first album in and shit. But it is true. It's the album that did the worst, apart from maybe Revival, when it came to like albums. And this was before Dre. And then Dr. Dre came along, and we got the Slim Shady LP. Now, I like this album. Now, next 3 albums is probably one of the greatest album runs in probably rap ever in the early 2000s. From Slim Shady LP to the Marshall Mathers LP to the Eminem Show. And the Slim Shady LP introduces us to the character of Slim Shady, known as Eminem's alter ego. And throughout this, you hear him say a lot of crazy stuff that obviously a lot of people wouldn't be allowed to say in current day. He'd cover loads of different topics throughout his music, and very controversial, but his songs, some of them very catchy. I'm trying to think of songs on this album to my memory. Obviously, I think Rock Bottom is on this. If I Had, as well as I think My Name Is, Role Model. I'm trying to name songs because I sometimes get confused between the albums. So, it is a very good album. When I listen to it current day, the thing is, I like this album. I can listen to some of the songs. I like some of the songs. I don't like every song, but I like some of the songs. But where would I put it in this tier list? If we talk about the album itself, it is a great album. I'm not gonna put it in peak. Well, actually, it's difficult. Might have to put it in peak M. But if we talk with, actually no. You know what? I'm gonna say it's a great album. I know loads of people might get annoyed at me for that, but I'm gonna say it's a great album, not peak, because I think the albums I'm gonna put above it, I don't think are even close to that. So yeah. Next up, we have got the Marshall Mathers LP. Now, the next two albums we got here are probably considered Eminem's best albums. The Eminem Show and the Marshall Mathers LP. Let's start with the Marshall Mathers LP. This came out, I believe, in the year 2000. This obviously is not as crazy of an album, like controversially, as the Slim Shady LP was. The thing you get introduced to in the first three albums is you get introduced to the Eminem's different personas. You got the Eminem Show, which is just Eminem, just doing his rapping stuff. You got Marshall Mathers, which is actually the actual person himself, Eminem. And then you got Slim Shady, which is his alter ego, the one that says all the fucked up crazy shit that obviously can't be said in this generation. So those are the three, and when you listen to all three, you can tell they're all very different because all the artists are very, all three personas are very different to each other. So when you listen to all three albums, they are very different. Some of the themes are obviously do carry on throughout each album. They do obviously go over many different themes, which I'll get onto later in the video when addressing Kamikaze and Revival. But let's think. The Marshall Mathers LP. Now, this has got songs like Stan, one of Eminem's biggest songs. And it's one of his best songs, to be honest. What else? We've got, obviously, Kill You. We got Criminal. We got Bitch Please with, Snoop Dogg, Dre, and all them lot. You got, obviously, the Marshall Mathers song. Overall, this is a really good album. Also, Kim. Also, I should have mentioned for the last album, Slim Shady LP, Bonnie and Clyde as well. 97 Bonnie and Clyde, and As the World Turns. There's so many songs I know from each album. But the Marshall Mathers LP, it's gotta be peak it technically was peak Eminem. But I'm gonna say something here which is a bit controversial, well, to many. I'm gonna say this: the Eminem Show is better than the Marshall Mathers LP. And I'm going to probably die on that hill because I probably guess not a lot of people would agree. And that's completely fine. I don't expect everyone to agree. Some people may agree. Some people may think the Eminem Show. But everyone always compares these two albums to which one is better. I think as an album, I'm more likely to listen to the Eminem Show. Because there's more bangers, there are more hits. For example, you got Till I Collapse, you got Without Me, one of Eminem's biggest songs, Without Me, you got Till I Collapse, you got, what other songs, you got Goodbye Hollywood, Haley's song, you've got, so many Business, so many banging songs, I think this is probably Eminem's best album. I'm not gonna lie. This is Eminem's best album. Even when you look at the album cover, it just gives you nostalgia, looking at it. And in my opinion, I do think it is better than the Eminem Show. No, sorry, better than the Marshall Mathers LP and the Slim Shady LP. Both still great albums, but I think the Eminem Show clears. And I can't lie, this was a great album one, going from Slim Shady LP to the Marshall Mathers LP to the Eminem Show. I think that was one of the greatest album ones in the early 2000s. And that was, I can understand why everyone said Eminem was the GOAT during this time, because it's clear that he was. And honestly, many people said after this album is when he kind of fell off. And to be honest, I could understand that argument. As we go on to the next one, Encore. Encore. This is probably... Encore, the next two, Encore and Relapse, are very difficult, in my opinion. I like Relapse more than I like Encore. Eminem doesn't like either. But to be honest, if he considered the time Eminem was in, the state Eminem was in while making both of these albums, it kind of makes, obviously, I'm not going to rate it too harshly. What am I on about? Well, this was during the time he was addicted to drugs, and a time where he almost died from overdosing from drugs, and many obviously artists have died from the same thing, like Juice WRLD, for example. But I obviously aren't gonna hate him too much. But this album, Encore, was basically made during the time he was basically on drugs, coming up with the most crazy, like, stupid songs, like, and the songs aren't that bad. Like, to be honest, Mockingbird came from this album, and Mockingbird is probably one of the best songs he's done to his daughter, and I'm not gonna hate him for that song. But some of the songs on there, like, Rain Man, and, I'm trying to think of what, like, oh, what was it? Oh, there was one, Just Lose It, yeah. Those songs were just fucking crazy. I don't know, but obviously I'm not going to question it. He was obviously pretty in a bad state during the time he made the album. And then, so, where am I going to put it? Some of the songs, I like 3 or 4 songs on the album. I'm not going to listen, if I'm going to listen to this album, I'm not listening to every song on this album. I'm only going to listen to probably a few. I'm going to probably say only one time listen. I don't like Encore. And I understand why people may like it. But I Next up, we got Relapse. Now, I like Relapse. I think Relapse is a good album. And I know many people might say Encore is better or is not as good as previous albums. But I liked Relapse. Obviously, this was Eminem's first album in like 5 years, I think it was. And this was him obviously coming back after rehab and after obviously almost dying from drugs and all that. And obviously, if you understood the story on how like it took him ages for him to like understand like how to rap or get to that level again, then you obviously would feel more considerate when obviously putting that into consideration. But this album, Relapse, is not that bad. I like Same Song and Dance. I think that was a great song. I'm trying to think of more good songs on there. I think Bagpipes from Baghdad's a funny song. I think that's a fun song. I like, what other songs do I like from that album? What Old Time Sakes, I think, is a good song with Dr. Dre. I like what's that song? Oh my god. I forgot the name of the song. There's a song on there that I really like, which is basically like a storytelling song about obviously his addiction to drugs. I actually forgot the name of it though, and it is actually infuriating. What's the name of that song? I can't remember. But you know what? It doesn't matter. We're gonna put it in mid. I think Relapse was mid. I think it's better than Encore, it's better than Infinite, but it's not as great as the top 3. So, yeah. I think that's going to be my rating for Relapse. Got none other than the Recovery album. Okay. Recovery album. I like this album a lot. Now, listen. This was during the 2010s. And this was obviously his first proper album since Relapse. And this was more of a, like people say, this was more of like a hip-hop, like, pop album than any of his other stuff. Like, he went into the, like, different approach on, like, adding, like, for example, the Rihanna feature on Love the Way You Lie, obviously. Some of all his songs on here are similar to the Eminem show, and the fact that 90% of the songs on here are bangers and like radio hits. I think this album was just made to get as many radio hits as possible, in my eyes. Like, that's why I thought like they had the Rihanna feature and like all of that. Like, they had so many good songs in this album. They had Love the Way You Lie, Not Afraid, 25 to Life. Obviously, the first 2 songs Cold Wind Blow and Cold Wind Blow and what's the name? Talking to Myself is very good. 2 songs. I obviously like the tribute he did to his friend Proof when he died. I forgot the name of the song. Oh, is it Never Over? Yeah. And then also I like also Going Through Changes is a pretty big song, because this song obviously describes like what he was going through during the time of like his losing his best friend. And to be honest, Beautiful, also for Relapse, I forgot to mention, Beautiful was a beautiful song. Not gonna lie, like it's one of the best like storytelling songs Eminem's made. Well, not storytelling, but like, you know, real songs. Because the thing with Eminem is you get many different versions. You get the crazy Eminem, and then sometimes you get the real Eminem who goes on about real topics and how he feels, and I kind of like that Eminem. I know obviously many people just care like the lyrical miracle, him just spitting like crazy bars, but I like when he goes real for songs, like, because it shows that he's like not. It shows that he's human, and like it's more relatable in a sense. Like, don't get me wrong, some songs I like that he goes crazy on and spazzes out on. But I also like when he's like real on songs, and I'll go more into that later. But Recovery, I'm gonna put it. Now I know everyone's gonna be pissed off at me for this. I'm gonna put it at great. I'm not. I know everyone's gonna be like, how is it on the same level as the Slim Shady LP? If we're talking streams and actual hits, it's gonna be on the same level as probably the Eminem Show. But it's not obviously as good as these two, the top 2. If I had to do it based on personal rating, I put Recovery on peak M. That is just my opinion. Next up, we got the Marshall Mathers LP2. So this is a continuation of the Marshall Mathers LP. And this was an album, to say. Now, I don't think it's as good as Recovery, but it was a I liked Bad Guy, the first song on it. It was the sequel to Stan. I liked what other songs did I like on the album? I like Legacy. I thought Legacy was pretty cool. What other songs on that album? I don't listen, like, obviously they had the Kendrick Lamar feature. To be honest, I know the backstory behind that whole Kendrick song, but to be honest, I just feel like that was such a wasted feature. They could have had one of the best rap songs, but they had to get it over a goofy beat, which just like, honestly, an Eminem and Kendrick song now will fucking explode the world, mate. But where would I put Marshall Mathers LP to? I'm gonna put it mid, but I will put it above. I'll put it around the same level as Relapse. I'm not gonna lie, it's not the worst album but it's also not the best album Eminem's made. It was a nice continuation though, for all the fans. Next up, we got Revival. Now, this is probably Eminem's most controversial album, because the majority of the people hate it. The other majority likes it. Now, what is my stance on this album? I'm not going to go around and say, oh, this is the worst shit I've ever heard. Eminem in this album goes through many different topics. This is more political M. Like, this is during the time where the Trump election's going on, and like, obviously he showed disdain and hate towards Trump. And some of the songs were a bit political, like Home, where he basically just insulted Trump. And to be honest, more insults go to Trump in Kamikaze, but obviously as well, the thing is, it's a similar case to Recovery, where he but kind of failed. Obviously, he tried to make an album just with bangers, and it didn't work as well. Don't get me wrong, I like some of the songs in this album. I think the last 3 songs on Relapse is actually good. In Your Head, Castle, and A Rose. I think Castle and A Rose is probably a masterpiece of songs. I also like In Your Head. I also like when Eminem's being real, like Needs Me and Tragic Endings. I think, like I said earlier in the video, I like when he acts real and gives the fans a sense of relatability. Because some people did complain that when Eminem became more successful, he didn't obviously become as relatable as he was before. But I like some moments where like people can like relate to some of his songs. I'm not gonna hate on this album. I'm not gonna hate on it too bad. I'm not gonna say it's the best piece I ever heard. I can understand both ways. Like some of the songs in this album I wouldn't listen to because I don't like it, but some of them I would. So because of that, I am gonna put it in only one time listen. Like I can only probably listen to a few of the songs once and probably never again. Going on to the last 4 albums, they got Kamikaze. So this was basically a revenge album. Because after all the criticism that the previous album, Revival, got, he got pissed. And he basically started... This album was to diss all the critics. And to go at every mumble rapper. If you don't know what mumble rappers are, is you got normal rappers who... there's 2 different types of rappers. You got rappers who focus on lyrics and bars. And then you got rappers that just focus on beats, auto-tune, and just chatting shit that doesn't make sense. Like... just to match the beat. And Eminem doesn't like those type of rappers. They only like ones that like obviously care about skill. Now this time period was a weird. So this is obviously during the time where he obviously disliked Trump. He had beef with MGK. This was a weird time period. He was just going at every artist that had something to say about him. And obviously the concept sounds good. Some of the songs on here I didn't really like. And I'm not going to lie, back then when this album probably came out, it was probably fire. But as it's gone on, compared to all his other stuff now, I don't think it's that good of an album. If you want any evidence of that, the last song on the album is legit a soundtrack to Venom. Like, I'm not disrespecting that. But compared to other songs, albums, final tracks, you put Venom. I don't like Normal as well. I don't like Good Guy and Nice Guy. I don't like those songs. I don't like Venom. I don't like Normal. I don't mind Greatest. I think The Ringer is fire. I think that Joyner Lucas song Lucky You is good. I think that was a good rap collaboration. But it's not like an album that I go and listen to like every but I'm only like fewer songs, so it's gonna be another one-time lesson. One-time lesson. We got Music to Be Murdered by Side A. Okay, this album, I actually like this album, and to be honest, it's probably the best album he did up to that point in like a while. Now, if we're talking about songs he's done on this album, he's had obviously Juice WRLD and Godzilla, which was a massive song. We also had what other songs did he do? He had the Don Toliver feature on No Regrets. I really like that song. You had what other songs on here? You had Ya Ya Ya. You had Never Love Again. In Too Deep. You had the Ed Sheeran feature. Now the thing is, I know a lot of people like to hate on Ed Sheeran. On the Ed Sheeran feature. I'm not going to lie. River is a better song than Those Kind of Nights. I'm going to say it now. River clears Those Kind of Nights. And overall this album is actually good. So I'm going to put it in what I think deserves to be a great album. This video is just going to piss off a lot of Eminem fans, isn't it? Alright, next up we got is Music to Be Murdered by Side B. Now, this is the Side B. Now, this is the kind of thing I wish they did for the next album I'm going to talk about, or the final album, The Death of Slim Shady. But the Music to Be Murdered by side B it's actually a good side B. They had Zeus featuring White Gold. It had not every song I liked on this album though. I didn't like Nat. Now, it's just a song that Eminem just spazzed about for like ages. I like Guns Blazing. I thought Black Magic's alright. Like, also, to be fair, Leaving Heaven, Darkness, they're good songs. Tackling those, like, topics. Overall, side B is alright. I like Higher. To be fair, I can't forget Higher came from that Music to Be Murdered by, and Higher's a fire song. Obviously, they did the Juice WRLD collaboration well. And now we got the final album, Death of Slim Shady. Woo! I'm gonna say this is Death of Slim Shady. Obviously, the rebirth of Slim Shady. I like the story of it. The fact is Slim Shady coming back and experienced a life in 2024, and it's him versus Eminem, and he has to stop Slim Shady from trying to cancel him. And it's a good story line to it. But do I like this album? I don't mind it. I thought this album was good. I can't lie, Houdini. When it first came out, I got really annoyed by the song because of how catchy it was in my head. But obviously, as time gone on, I realised the song's not that bad. But it's just the chorus just kept getting in my head. At a period of time, I couldn't listen to Temporary without crying. Because it is actually a beautiful song. Somebody Save Me, what a beautiful song that is too. Obviously, I don't like Head Honcho. Or Road Rage. Toby. I like Toby. I like Evil. I thought Renaissance was a fire song. I like Habits. I like Bad One. I don't mind Lucifer. Lucifer's there. But I don't mind. I thought Fuel was kind of fire. But overall, I think this album is gonna be great. I think it's a great album. Now, I don't know. I hope Eminem releases another album, but it'll probably take another, 3 years. But till then, this is my rating. We got Infinite at This Is Shit. Only Listen To Once, Revival, Encore, Kamikaze. Mid is Relapse. Marshall Mathers LP, Music to Be Murdered by Side B. The great tier is the Slim Shady LP, Recovery. Music Being Murdered by Death of Slim Shady, and then Peak M is Eminem Show and Eminem and the Marshall Mathers LP. Anyway, that's my tier list. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe, and peace.